Today we're going to be doing the update from Survival Game Kit 1.85 to 1.86. If you'd like to follow along, go ahead and pull up diffusestudios.com, go to their patch notes for Survival Game Kit, and you will see 1.86 hotfix. This has a decent number of updates in it, fixes, and a couple of improvements. And so you're more than welcome to follow along and follow that guide as well while you watch the video if you're doing these updates. If you are using the merged version, so let's say you have the advanced locomotion system and the survival game kit merged that I did in a couple series of videos, then this is not the video you'll want to watch. This is the one that's just for survival game kit. It may help you if you have some other type of customized survival game kit that you've done, but the one that's for the ALS SGK merge, I will have a separate video for that it would be preference that you go and follow that one, because any specific issues that come up, I'll go through and correct those in that video. If you want to check out our Discord group, that's a great way that you can help get into the community of how-to. In there, we've got people that are asking questions, helping give answers, a lot of good resources in the Discord if you just check out that link in the description below. Also, I'd encourage you to like and subscribe, hit the little bell button down there, and that will make it so you get future notifications of when I do new tutorials. It may be anything related to, for instance, this is survival game kit, but I do them for other products as well. And if you are interested in helping support and get those other products, I have a Patreon, and that's a good way to give a form of money that I can turn around and buy more assets with. So your support, whether it's through the Discord community, through Patreon, or just even making a comment on a video or liking it, that really helps me out. So thank you very much for all the support you guys have given up to this point. Let's go and get started on 1.86. So make sure you're in the project. You'll be in the showcase here. And it should say version 1.85 currently. If you're on an older version, make sure you follow one of those videos to get you to the 1.85. Or if you're after this, you don't need to do this update. This is only if you are on 1.85 and you want to get to 1.86. And you do need to do these in order. So if you're in 1.85 and you want to get to 1.87, you're going to have to do 1.86, then 1.87. So the first one is fixing an issue with the item list scale offset not working. And to do this, we'll need to be in the master item. So make sure you choose survival game kit in the lower left under content, and then search for master item. There's a master item blueprint. Open that up. And then inside of this, we're going to go to the setup item tab. Wait for it to load. And then we're going to do a filter search and get to the setup item category. All right, so once you're in the master item, go ahead and on the left under my blueprint, just do setup item, and you'll see it under construction script. In here, we're going to go to the very end, and you'll see where it has add world transform. It's doing a break for item details here. We're going to be doing it right after this. So from this, not the sweep hit result, but we're going to go to the left of that, and we're going to do the skeletal world mesh. I'm going to make sure, let's just double check that, but that should be where we're doing the target. We're going to actually do it for both of these. So go and drag off the skeletal world mesh first and do set world scale 3D. And then you can connect the add world transform to that. Then also drag the static world mesh into that as well. And you'll see both are going to be affected by this. So it's going to scale the skeletal world mesh and the static world mesh to the same scale. That scale is going to be determined by this item detail. So what we want to do is drag off of the mesh world offset. We want to break that because we're going to get just the scale from that. And then drag the scale up to the input of the scale for the set world through scale 3D. So now it's pulling what the scale is going to be. It's going to make those two items match that, and that should correct that issue. Go ahead and compile and save. And then you can close that master item. Next, we're going to fix an issue with the options menu item duplication. To do this, we need to be in the inventory slot options. So go ahead and search for that. and you'll see there is a widget called inventory slot options. In here, we want to go to the graph because that will have the blueprints code. And we want to be in the events graph. So event graph on the upper left, I'll go and double click that. And then there's an event on clicked use, call use item in inventory HUD. We're going to be adding some things in between the use item and the event call. Go ahead and we need to extend this out. So let's go ahead and make that comment box bigger. And then I'm going to select everything but the event. And I'm going to move it all to the right a bit. We'll scale it back a little bit once we figure out how much code we're going to be putting in here. First of all, let's drag off of the call and let's do is same item. You'll see a macro for that. And we're going to be checking two items. First of all, right click and do get item. We're going to be comparing that. Put that in item 1. And then what we're going to do is drag off of item, and we're going to break that information. So we're going to break the inventory item, and we're going to get the index. And then let's do, first of all, actually, let's do off of inventory. Let's do a get inventory. You'll see under non-edit, there's an array called get inventory, or just inventory. And then from that, we're going to do a get. We're going to get a reference, and index will be the input. I'm going to move this a little bit farther to the right so that it goes in a straight line. And then the result of that get is going to go into item 2. So it should end up looking like this. You have your item, breaking it, getting the index, looking at the inventory, and we're going to compare those two items. Now, if it's true, it's going to go to use item like what we're doing. That's fine. And you can go ahead, clean this up a little bit so it's a little closer together, because we're going to be putting something from false. And we can make a copy. See where it says set visibility? Just Control C and Control V that. Let's make a copy. And false is going to go into that. And it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be is visibility hidden. So, and the target is the widget. So it should end up looking like this. So if false, it's going to just set it to hidden. If it's true, it's going to use the item and then set the visibility to hidden. So it should end up looking like that. Next, we're going to need to go into the same, we're going to be in the inventory still, but we need to go to the inventory component. So go ahead and compile and save this slot UI. And then in the search, we're going to do inventory component. Let's do player. Let me search for player before that. So player inventory component. Open that up. And on the upper left, let's search for remove front grip attachment. Select that. And at the very beginning, you'll see the inputs here. We need to add a branch right off of this input. So drag off of that and just do branch. And we're going to be checking, first of all, you'll see the weapon attachments break that's happening here. Off of that front grip, what we want to do is drag off of it and do a search for is valid class. So we're just making sure that's a valid class. If it is, that's going to be the condition for that branch. And then it will only continue if that's valid. If not, before it would have just gone forward anyways and continue to try doing these things even if it wasn't a valid class. This will do the check to make sure it is. We're going to do some similar things in other areas. So we're still in this player inventory component. Go ahead and compile that. And we want to do this for a couple of other of the remove actions. So in the upper left, let's go ahead and do, instead of remove front grip, we're going to do remove magazine attachment. You kind of see the list that we're going to be going through on the left. So open up remove magazine attachment, do something very similar. Drag it a little bit to the left. I'm going to do a branch off of that. Make sure you're doing this from the weapon attachment. Just do is valid class. And that's the condition of that branch. Go ahead and compile again. And now we're going to do a search for remove stock attachment. So what you could do is you see where you do a search for attachment. We're going to be going through these. So let's go ahead and now do remove stock attachment. Do the branch. From the stock, we're doing is valid. And feed it into branch. Go ahead and hit compile. Next, we're going to be doing the trigger. So once that compile finished, go ahead and double click remove trigger attachment. Move this to the left some. And we're doing a branch. Is valid. And connecting that up. Hit compile one more time. Next, we do the handguard. And we'll just continue repeating this until we complete it. So go ahead and press compile. And next we'll do the underbarrel attachment. After this, we're going to do the muzzle attachment. And we'll do the same thing. We'll just do a quick branch. And the isValid class. All right, isValid class function. Connect that up. And we have two more. We have the muzzle attachment. Actually, we have one more. We have a muzzle attachment, and now we have the warp attachment. And we'll double click and kind of check all these out, make sure that we got them all. So we have here all the remove magazine, sight. I'm just going to go through each of these. And they should each now have this branch. I don't remember if we did the sight or not, so we'll be able to double check. So branch. I don't see it here, but we might as well do it. Grip, stock, trigger, the handguard, the underbarrel, the muzzle, and the warp. So go ahead and compile and save that. And then next we're going to be going and fixing an issue with the foundation placement on angle. So we're going to be needing to be in the build preview for that. So you can close this player inventory component for now. And then in the filter, search for build preview. On the middle left, under my blueprint, you'll need to be in the get high of placement. Zoom out and find trace for landscape. It should be the third box over. And we need to change this trace channel. We need to change it to grid, which we added it in the last update. So the trace channel needs to be grid. And you can hit save. Compile and save that. And we're going to remain in this build preview for the next fix, and that is going to be correcting an issue with the foundation overlap with no grid foundations. So we're going to need to, on the left side again, search for get overlapping actors. And we're going to be adding some code to this. We need to be in the section that says check if using grid, then allow foundation overlap. And I'm going to make some more room here. And where we're going to be adding is pretty much from these branches. So we've got the foundation branch here. We're going to be doing some checks after this. Let's just kind of start working our way through it, and we'll get it to match what the patch notes say. So first of all, we have where it's doing a check on the foundation here off of the build part. That is basing it on build type. So he actually does change it back a little bit. I want to make sure that we do this exactly right. So pretty much from here forward, if you're looking at a screenshot, is where we're going to be adding. We have our return node here. That's going to be the same. We can move that down below some. And then get distance to, that is going to remain in here. So we will be using that, but he's basing it, we're doing another check here first. So from false, leave that there, and then true, we're going to be changing and adding a branch between this. So do a branch and do get grid hit, the Boolean. So if that's true, what I want you to do is to click and drag from true down to false. And then we're going to move all of this down a bit. So we've got everything after that. We want to move down some. It is going to be out of the way. So you can leave all that the same from false. That should be fine. And then we're going to start adding a bunch of code after this grid hit. So first of all, from true, we want to do a branch. Now let's get the condition that we need for this. First of all, do a get build type. From that, we're going to break that information. And we're going to pull the type from it. So from type, we're going to do equals equals. And if it equals the drop down to do a foundation. Straighten some of this out. Okay, so if it equals a foundation, that's going to be the condition for that branch. We're going to leave false blank, but we're going to do true to another branch. And the conditions of this branch will be, first of all, we're going to get the foundation size. We're going to break, because this is a vector right here, we're going to break that. And then we're going to pull X. So first of all, let's multiply X. So X, and you can do an asterisk to get that. We're going to do a float times a float. And we want that to be 2. So multiplying it by 2. And then, first of all, we'll give this a little more room. We're going to have more checks we're doing here. The result of that, we're going to subtract. So do a minus. So float minus float. And that's going to be 10. We're going to be giving this a range. This information that we need is, first of all, this get distance to. We're going to be using some of that. So drag off of that get distance to from the bottom and do an in range float. That is going to be the value. So I'm going to redirect this a little bit just so it's easy to see where we're coming from. And then this negative 10, the subtraction of 10, that's going to be the minimum. And the one that we multiplied it by 2, that's going to be the maximum. So we have our minimum, we have our maximum. Leave these two boxes checked, and then that is going to be the condition for that branch. Now, we also need to pull off of this get distance to one more time, but to make this look a little cleaner, you can do it from the redirect if you have one of those. And let's do an in range again float. And then this, I'm going to bring another redirect here. I'm going to bring that after, to the right after that branch. And the range that we're going to be putting here is the minimum is going to be 522. The maximum is going to be 535. Leave those two boxes checked. And then from true, actually from false, sorry, do a branch. And then that's the condition for that. Now, what we're going to do is then do a return node. So you see this return node over here where it has a checkbox and it's checked. Hit Control C on that, paste it at the end there, and that's going to be false. So if it's false, it is then going to return that it is an overlapping actor. So that should be exactly what we need to match the patch nodes. So go ahead and compile and save that. And then you can close that for now. We're going to go back to that player inventory component. And we're going to go into the backpack remove check. So on the upper left, search for backpack remove. And we're going to be fixing an issue where unequip when no slots are available. So in here, we need to just do after this return node, and there's allow remove L. What we want to do is uncheck that and not have the default value be true. So select allow remove L, uncheck allow remove true, and hit compile and save. Go ahead and close the player inventory component, and then we're going to go into the crafting menu blueprint. So search for crafting menu. And this is going to fix an issue with grid view sizes. So in here, once we get into the menu, make sure you go to graph because we want to get in the code of it. And in the upper left, let's search for populate crafting list. And zoom out, and you'll see a section where it says like set alignment fill, and then we're going to add something because you've got set row index, set alignment fill, and then we're going to add something between set alignment fill and set slot padding. So go ahead and drag out that comment box some, move slot padding not that much to the right, and then let's do drag off of that and search for set vertical alignment. I'm going to make this match. First of all, we want to leave that on fill. We want to make the target. So you can see here, it's got this value that it's been passing around. Make this clear. I'm going to change something here really quick. You can see it keeps on. I don't like doing this because it's, see here, they got all these rows duplicated. I'm going to redo this. So I'm going to have one line continue, go over there. And I like this because you can see easily each of these are continuing from the same line. I like it when you have one line and then you're kind of just dropping the value down. And then we'll continue off of this one, connect to the new box for target, and redirect it so it drops like that. So you can see, makes it easy to follow that all of those are kind of doing the same thing. I'm going to highlight that. I'm going to hit C create a comment box, and we'll just call that set vertical. Actually, yeah, we'll call it set vertical size. And then you can move comment box that we had moved over close as you want to, and then bring that up. Go ahead and compile that and save it. And then you can close the crafting menu. Next, we're going to be working back in that player inventory component. Go ahead and pull that up. And on the upper left, we want to search for enter aimed. And open that. And you'll see here on the bottom where it has like it's crouching. We're going to be working in this area. And let's just double check. We have 3 macros here that are doing checks. Crouching, aimed, walking. Walking, aimed, crouch, aimed, and aimed. And then let's just double check all these values. Crouching, aim, walking, crouching, aim. So this isn't matched up correctly. This one needs to be walking aimed. So it's walking aimed here, walking aimed there. And then we have crouching aimed. Crouching aimed. Change that one. Aimed is to aimed. Go ahead and compile that. And then we will do in the upper left, we're going to do a search for exit aimed. Open that up and we'll do something very similar. Let's just verify all these. We have crouch walking. Okay, we want it to be crouch walking. We have jogging, so that needs to be jogging. Crouch aimed needs just to be crouch aimed. And then aimed just needs to be aimed. So you want those to line up because you're setting them and then changing it. You're setting the variable and then you're changing the actual state. So we want those to match up for the speeds. Now we're still going to be staying in this player inventory component, but we need to go back to the event graph. So you go ahead and you can clear the search and then double click event graph on top, or you can click in the menu option here, the top, you can click event graph. And we need to find on the upper left, let's search for set character movement speed. We want to jump right to that section. Go ahead and select it and check reliable. Then hit compile. And we're also going to do this for the set character state timers. So you'll see on the where I did set character up here on the upper left. If you did that, you'll see set character state timers. Double click that, select it, and check reliable once again, then hit compile. Go ahead and save that, and then we'll close the player inventory component. And let's do a filter for the resource manager. We're going to be changing the resource. So they changed the resource remove trace. So in here, we need to be under, so the left-hand side under my blueprint, search for get instance at transform. And then right after the beginning, we have our transform. It's doing a break of that transform. We want to change the value to 50. So it'll be 0, 0, and then for the Z, it's going to be 50. So you can compile that. and then you can save it. So now close that. And the last thing for this patch we need to search for in filters. Let's do the build part info. Go ahead and open that up. So the first thing we need to do is, I'm going to bring this down a little bit so you can see a little bit more, is we're going to be creating a new variable because right now you should have require name input, and then that'll be the only one that's there. Go ahead and go to the top, put new variable. You'll see that there's a new one. Maybe it's Boolean for the first one. Let's call this collision ignore. The type is going to be eBuild. eBuild. All right, it's going to be eBuild types. Go ahead and select that. And then we want to make it an array. So you see here to the right of that, there's the type. Hit the build blocks, and that will be an array. Now we're going to be changing some values down here. So you see at the bottom where it says collision ignore, hit plus on there twice. And you'll see drop downs. We need to choose foundation, and we need to choose ceiling for the second one. We have foundation and ceiling. Go ahead and hit save on that. Now we need to go into the building save. So go ahead and close this build part info. Instead, we'll do under the filter, we'll do build save. Open that up. And we're going to be doing a little trick that will make it so it kind of recompiles the struct for all of this. We're going to be going to where it says build part info, and then it has the build part info. We're going to change that to an array. We're going to hit save, and then you're going to change it back to that single variable, and then hit save. Now we need to go in and recompile this blueprint. So go ahead and close the build save. Do under filter, let's search for the inventory save system. And we need to get to the master build parts. So save master build parts on the left hand side. Let's search for that. Save master build parts. You'll see an error here at the end. And so what we need to do is, first of all, we need to connect this build part info back up to the build part info. One thing you could do is refresh nodes. See, it takes it away. That's one quick way to do it. Compile here. Should see a couple of errors. Now let's double check. So we have our save. The other error, it's not showing it, but let's go to load master build. We'll go to load master build parts. And you can see here under the get array, it looks like it fixed that. Let's double check. Looks like that refresh fixed it. So it looks like all those errors are corrected. I don't see any other errors on here or things that didn't connect correctly. So you can see that it connected the build part to the build part info. And there's no other errors. So go ahead and save that. Now you can close it, and we need to go to the master build part. Go and open that up. And we need to go to destroy build part. So on the left-hand side, let's search for destroy build part. Do a compile of this. You can see there's an error here. Go ahead and click that. It's towards the end. And what we want to do is we want to delete this. So we're setting it to a blank build part. We don't need to put empty. So go ahead and hit compile and then save. You can close that. And then now we're going to go into the build preview. So search for build preview. And we need to go to placement. So on the left-hand side, let's search for placement. You can see here under the functions, there's placement. And then there's a place that says max angles. So we want to find that. So build preview, placement, and then max angles. You can see it's right about here. And what we're going to do is we're going to delete this cast. So delete that cast and then connect where it was coming from to that second branch, the one on the bottom. So this is never going to happen. This condition is never going to happen. Fine. And so you can compile that. There's some extra code here. I'm not going to really worry about that for now. We'll go ahead and leave it. On the left-hand side under my blueprint, let's search for non-grid actor. We're going to go to that non-grid actor function. And then there's a check. So we're going where check if an exception is made for overlap right here. And you have your build type. There's build part info, contains. We're going to add one more thing here below this. So you can go ahead and move this return node a little bit to the left. We're going to do a right click and do a get build type. We're going to break that info. Go ahead and hit the drop down because we're going to need to find the collision ignore array that we made earlier and drag off of that and do contains. So we're going to see if it contains an item that we want to check is this type right here that should have been already there. And then that's going to be the condition of this branch. So we're going to replace that. So it's not going to be using this one above. It's going to be using this check. And then you can compile and save that. So that completes the updates for 1.8.6. So make sure you go into the main level and find the area where it says the version number, Survival Game Kit 1.85 currently. Select that version text and change that to 1.8.6 so you can easily track what version you're currently on. Once you've done that, you should be good to go. You can go ahead and hit play and test and make sure everything is working correctly. Thank you for checking out this video. Thing that you can do to really help if you appreciated it is to like, subscribe, hit the little bell button down there so you get a notification of when I put new videos out. Also, you can join our Discord server, totally free to do. It's a great resource. There's a lot of people in there that are fellow developers, probably have the similar interests to what you have. So click in the description. There's a link to get into there. We have a very large community in there, and it's a lot of great people. Also, if you want to help support purchase future assets that I can do tutorials on, you're more than welcome to go check out my Patreon. And then if you do join the Discord, make sure you go in and introduce yourself, get involved, help answer questions. And if you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask them. I thank you very much for checking this video and being a supporter of my community, and I will catch you all later.